I just got back from South by Southwest, where, of course, I was doing a lot of networking. And I've done some other networking videos in the past, but there were a couple of new things that I was thinking about this time around. One is how much networking really isn't about you as a filmmaker. I mean, you think it is, you want to impress people, you want to connect with people, you want to, say the right thing that people will want to work with you or help you with your project. So, in that sense, there's a lot of pressure or desire to kind of talk about yourself and your projects and all of that. But ultimately, a lot of what networking is showing interest in other people. And so then there's this kind of reciprocal effect where you're showing interest in somebody else and they're showing interest in you, and therefore, you figure out whether you guys connect or not. But it's especially true when you're reaching out to somebody to set up a meeting or an informational interview. And it's something that I was talking about with my students this week, how when you're reaching out to other people, whatever that brief email is, it should favor the person you're reaching out to. Not, these are all the things that I want to impress you with, but this is why that person is a good fit for whatever it is that you want to talk about. So it shows that you've done your research, that there's a direct and relevant reason for why you're reaching out to this person, and that they're not just part of the scattershot approach to networking and connecting with people. And that research and that understanding of the other person and their work and everything is really critical, which can be very hard to do on the fly when you're at a festival. So that's where, in the past I advised reading up on the people before you go to a panel or before you go to a screening, and then you can try and connect that way. But sometimes, you meet people on the fly and you have no idea that they were the CEO to some major production company, and that's just kind of one of those amazing things that happens at these festivals. And what's important about that and showing up and going to these kinds of events is that by being present in these spaces with all of these people, you are kind of inadvertently saying that you are an equal. Even though, you're not, you don't have this same experience, but it's one of those implicit things that if you're in a room with people at a big event, that ends up fostering connections, because if they're at this place and you're at this place, then that again inherently sows those connections between you two. So it's so important to show up. It's so important to be seen at these types of events. And that can also then create opportunity that wouldn't exist if you weren't there. So you show up and meet somebody, and then they introduce you to somebody else, or you're seen by somebody else, and all of a sudden you now get an invitation to an invite-only party, or to a screening, or to something else, and all of a sudden you've made a connection and you've fostered your career just by showing up. Showing up is, I know there's a phrase, showing up is half the battle. So, and I think in our industry, it's not just showing up for yourself, but it's showing up for other people, showing up for your friends, going to their screenings, supporting their work. Again, so much about networking isn't about you, even though at the end of the day, it will come back to you. It will help foster and build your career. But you kind of have to let go of this very kind of self-centered approach of like, this is my project and this is what I want to do. And so I'm going to pitch people until they help out. And I say that also as somebody who has a project and went to South by trying to get people on board. So, there's a certain amount of that you have to do in certain situations as well. But, make sure to, remember that conversations are two-way streets. Show interest in the other person. Ask questions. You might learn something, or you might be exposed to something new that, I just learned about a new potential funding avenue, which I had never heard about. So there are always new things happening. And so just be open to that, even when you're kind of on the hunt to try and get something off the ground or find a job or whatever it is that you're looking for.